Hi. I'd like to focus on my three issues of coaching for this particular assignment. And what I've decided to focus on is getting the balance correct in my coaching style, managing downwards with people that are working for me, and big picture versus small picture. So, in regards to balance between competition and compassion, I don't think these things are mutually exclusive, but obviously, when you're in a position where you're demanding things from people, you're driving people, there's times where it can be very analytical and even cold. And for me to try and strike that balance where grew up in a family where I knew my father loved me. My father never really told me that he's loved me, and perhaps I coach the same way, and trying to find that compassion within my work where not only am I pushing people, but I'm finding ways to connect with them, to show them that I care, obviously build up trust. Because eventually they're going to leave, they're going to graduate, and then hopefully our relationship will take a new level as more of a friendship. But to try to strike that balance, I think, is very difficult as a coach, and to try and be hard with a soft edge, and I think that's an issue that I tend to focus on quite a bit. The other thing between competition and time, and I'm going to allude to big picture versus small picture later on, but wanting to compete, wanting to win, wanting to be successful, but obviously doing it in a certain amount of time and being patient with working with individuals and working with the group. One of the more humbling aspects of my time here at Georgia Southern. I've been involved with a lot of different teams, but how difficult it is to change a culture in a short amount of time, and to take a breath, and to understand that if you're going to change people's mindsets, the paradigms that are created within different teams and different programs, it's going to take time. And I think those are two aspects of balancing my competitiveness with these other aspects of being a little bit more patient, a little bit more compassionate. The second issue I wanted to discuss was managing downwards, and I've always felt I've been very good at managing upwards, understanding who my boss was, understanding what their demands were, what the parameters were for the job. And a lot of the places that I've worked in the past, I haven't had a significant number of people underneath me. Even at the pro level, I wasn't dealing with a lot of people that were in subordinate positions. They were up in marketing or youth development. They were kind of separate from what I was doing with my position and with the pro team. But now that I'm here, I have a full-time assistant. I have a graduate assistant. I've had volunteers. I have a director of soccer ops. I have interns. I have a manager, and to be able to manage downwards properly, where again I'm being demanding, but at the same time too showing a compassionate side, keeping the big picture in mind, understanding that the sacrifices that I made 20, 25 years ago might not be the same ones that these people are willing to make, and understanding that that's not necessarily a bad thing, and finding a way of connecting with these young people in a more effective way. Obviously, when we're out on a field and I'm dealing with a kid on the pitch, you can deal with them in a different way than perhaps talking to a graduate assistant in an office setting. So I think that is one of the challenges of being a coach, that we take on different personas, and we certainly can't go walking through the office as if we're in the locker room or out on the pitch, and finding those ways of communicating with people and communicating effectively. You also have to understand that people aren't going to work the same way. Where I'm the type of person where if I have something big I need to do, I get in at 5:30 in the morning and I don't leave the office until it's done. And some people don't work that way. And as long as they're being effective with the tasks that I'm giving them, if they can find creative or more efficient ways of working, then that's something I need to be able to accept as a coach, and unfortunately as an older coach. So I think that's another issue I don't have time for. And then the final one I wanted to talk about today was big picture versus small picture. When I was an assistant coach, I was always focusing on 75% on my current job, and then 25% on that next job, whatever it was going to be. And I think when you're a head coach, you got to tweak it a little bit. So now it's 75% based on based on what we're doing right now in the short term, anywhere between right now to the next 3 months or so, 6 months. That's a short term view as far as I'm concerned, and then 25% on the long term, year, 3 years, 5 years. And I think that's important as a head coach, where you are planning out. The focus needs to be in the short term. The focus needs to be with the people that you're working with. And as I'm fond of telling the kids, like, I want to succeed with them. I don't want to succeed despite them. I don't want to succeed off the back of them. So I've always felt that way, where the people that I'm working with are the most important people. I'd say a majority of my work during the day is based on the kids that are here, and not recruiting, and not getting into what we're going to be doing in 3 years for most of my day. Obviously, there needs to be a little bit of that planning. I think a coach needs to be able to find that balance in how they work. But the exciting thing for me, I'm entering my 4th season, and we just basically ended a 3-year cycle as far as I'm concerned, and I think we accomplished quite a bit. And I know that we've finished a cycle and moving into a new one, because almost immediately after the season was over, I took a breath. I feel much more confident. I feel much more positive about where the program's going. We've done quite a bit in a short amount of time, and now we're ready to get into a new phase. And I think we've created a foundation, not only with talent, but administratively and methodology-wise. This Masters has helped me quite a bit clean up and tighten up some philosophy that I have within my own work. And it's exciting. So we're about to enter a new phase. And so again, going from small picture into big picture, and now we're back into the small picture again. And now my planning has to be for the next 3-5 years in preparation for this next phase. So I enjoyed this exercise. Very interesting to be able to sit down and think about some issues that I deal with. I hope they're issues that you find interesting and compelling, and hopefully there's some parallels you can draw from your own situations as well. Thanks.